with a face like this, it's so fitting that the LA mayor's name is Karen.
I'm Mayor Basshole. I hate America. I love illegals. I will now give them money. I take it from Whitey and give to them.
Good evening, America. Unless you're watching from California, then maybe not so good. Just kidding. Sort of, it's your favorite president, some say the best ever. And tonight, I've got a few things to say. So grab your popcorn, turn off the fake news, and let's talk about what's really going on. It's going to be good, really good.
And she just had an interview with Margaret Brennan over here, and it was not good because even Margaret Brennan was disappointed, especially at the end, in some of Karen's claims, which Margaret actually refuted. It was like a Karen on Karen battle. And because there were so many lying statements that she made, I included clips like these from the director of ICE, which directly refute Karen Bass's claims.
Turn now to Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. Good morning, Madam Mayor.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay. Glad you can hear me. We are looking at immigration issues 6 months in. You have had such a firsthand experience out in LA, given the deployment of U.S. troops. The president ordered the early release of nearly half of the National Guard from LA. Have they departed yet? What are the remaining ones doing?
Well, I believe they've departed, but they were never needed in the first place.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
And the remaining ones are doing what they were doing all along, which is essentially protecting 2 federal buildings, one of which in Westwood, where there never has been a big protest against the immigration raids. This is just such an incredible misuse of not only taxpayers' money, but of the young people who are in the National Guard.
Holy cow, they're throwing bricks at the police.
Will you get in the way? Yes! If you are charged with enforcing any part of the president's unlawful executive orders, will you resist? Yes! If your neighbor needs a place to hide, will you hide them? Yes! And right now, as the Maine legislature is trying to scapegoat transgender student athletes bargaining long-held civil rights away in hopes that it will save Maine's federal funding, will you show up for them and say that our human rights aren't for sale? Yes! Thank you.
Who've had to leave their families, their jobs, and their education for this deployment that is completely unnecessary. 4,000 troops, my understanding is most of their time has been spent in complete boredom, playing video games, and essentially waiting around because, again, 4,000 deployed and about 200 actually used.
The White House, of course, argues they deployed them because there was interference with the operations of law enforcement. In carrying out some of the roundups. There are still enforcement actions by ICE taking place. You have talked about your objections, as you described them, to masked men, unmarked cars, drawing guns, snatching people off the street. You filed a Freedom of Information request to, quote, know who these masked men are. Why, though, is their identity important to you? Do you plan to prosecute them?
Well, no, let me just explain, because you have people who are literally walking down the street, sitting at bus stops, are individual vendors selling fruit on the street. These masked men pull up in unmarked cars and jump out of the cars with rifles and detain people. So for the average citizen, it looks like it's a violent kidnapping. So you should never have that. They don't identify themselves. And furthermore, to your previous guest, how on earth do they know that they're a threat? when they're just chasing random people through parking lots, at Home Depots, going to car washes and rounding up people. It's difficult to get your car washed in Los Angeles now because most of the car washes, the employees won't come to work out of fear that a raid will take place.
Maybe because those employees are illegals, Karen. And Karen Bass claims that the ICE agents don't identify themselves. Well, let's hear what Director of ICE Todd Lyons has to say about that false claim.
Well, I do kind of push back on the criticism that they don't identify themselves. Men and women of ICE and our DOJ partners and local law enforcement do help us. They are identified on their vests. You can see the HSI, ERO, federal police officer, FBI in the back of the vest. So I would push back on the notion that we aren't identifying themselves.
Well, the acting director says that his agents, some of them fear that their families will be retaliated against, and that's why they are covering their faces, that they do wear markings for the agencies that they work with. How do you respond?
Well, first of all, let me just tell you that the masked men are not from Los Angeles. And so how their families could be retaliated against. And then what is that to say to local law enforcement, the Los Angeles Police Department, none of whom are ever masked, who always identify themselves and even hand someone a business card. So that makes absolutely no sense at all. And I don't know, but I have a hard time believing that the woman selling pineapples on the corner is going to attack an ICE agent. And then when he says that there's identification, the problem is many of these men are in plain clothes with vests on that say police. It looks like something that they could have gotten online. I think it's really important to point out the extreme nature of the randomness. And, you know, Holman has said, he's mentioned a number of criteria for why they stop people. One of the points of criteria is physical appearance. Los Angeles has 3.8 million people, and about 50% of our population is Latino. So I guess that means 50% of Los Angeles could be possible suspects in an immigration raid.
Well, Tom Homan has said physical description cannot be the sole factor for reasonable suspicion, but things like location, occupation, physical appearance add up, particularly if a person runs away or if there's a tattoo or something. You don't seem to believe that.
Location, sitting at a bus stop, walking down the street, selling fruit. No, I do dispute that, absolutely. And, you know, again, the National Guard should have never been deployed in the first place. We did not ask for them.
Remember, they were mostly peaceful protests, right, Karen? There was not that much violence, just a little bit at the end. There was no need for Trump to send these troops because the police of LA totally had it under wraps. There was no bricks being thrown at police officer cars that were breaking windows. There was no havoc being dropped everywhere. There was not tons and tons of people in the streets going after police officers that were just walking around. None of that was going on, right? Now, regarding her claim of what Tom Homan said, should we just take her word for it and believe her? No way. We're going to go straight to the source and hear exactly what Tom said, which made sense.
Well, first of all, let me be clear. Physical description can't be the sole factor to give you reasonable suspicion. As I said in an interview, it's articulable facts with an S. So appearance can be just one. For instance, if someone has an MS-13 tattoo on their face, that may be one factor to add to other factors to raise reasonable suspicion. I want to be clear about that again because my words are taken out of context. Physical description cannot be the sole reason to detain and question somebody. That can't be the sole reason to raise reasonable suspicion. It's a myriad of factors, and I can sit here for the next half hour and give you all the factors. So every officer, every situation is different. But I can tell you this, every ICE officer goes through Fourth Amendment training every 6 months and reminded what their authorities are for arrest, detention, and questioning. So the officers are very well trained. So
Another Karen Bass lie destroyed. Let's hear another one.
There's more we could talk about here, but I want to ask you about fires because we are now officially in fire season.
Flashback.
We are going to fight for all Angelenos, regardless of when they got here, whether they have papers or not. We are a city of immigrants, and this impacts hundreds of thousands of Angelenos.
Flashback.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today?
It was just 6 months ago we saw those blazes in LA. You fired the then fire chief for, you said, a failure to prepare, but you still don't have a permanent fire chief.
Well, most of the damaged lots in Pacific Palisades look like this, just empty, but many people are now worried what could happen to them. An eerie silence in Pacific Palisades, with lots listed for sale and controversy swirling.
It's irritating to think that other people are going to make decisions about what gets built.
Aileen Howe is one of thousands of residents closely watching Senate Bill 549. The proposal, already passed by the state Senate, would allow LA County to make a so-called Resilient Rebuilding Authority group. The goal would be to address housing shortage issues, but it would also buy fire-destroyed lots and rebuild a percentage of them as low-income housing.
It does sound quite a bit like Big Brother deciding what's good for all of us.
We had some low-income housing and we had affordable housing. We want what we had on January 7th.
Jessica Rogers is president of the Pacific Palisades Residents Association.
They're asking for a land grab.
When she heard about the new possible law, Jessica wrote this letter voicing opposition to lawmakers. In less than a week, it's been sent more than 22,000 times.
This is a rebuild. This is not a politicians get to decide a pet project on what they're going to do in the Palisades.
LA Mayor Karen Bass sent a letter to State Senator Ben Allen expressing opposition to SB 549, while California Governor Gavin Newsom tweeted the claim that the governor wants to bulldoze fire victims' neighborhoods and replace them with affordable housing is absurd. Late Wednesday, Senator Allen sending out a statement saying he appreciates the feedback and that it would be best for us to pause the bill until next year to give us more time to see if we can get it right.
Just give us our homes back and protect us from fire.
So that bill now on pause until next year, but many people here still watching very closely. We're live tonight, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
In that role, isn't that a problem? Are you prepared?
No, I don't think that that's a problem at all. Our interim fire chief has 40 years of experience. In fact, he had just recently retired. I called him in out of retirement during the fires. He was doing the Emergency Operations Center. So he stepped in, didn't miss a beat by taking over the fire department. And we are prepared. We do know that it's fire season.
So is your plan to keep him in place? Since you brought him out of retirement and put him in an interim basis?
No, I'm sorry. No, we're doing a national search, and he is certainly open to apply, but the nation's second largest city needs to make sure that we search the nation for the best talent. And I'm sure that there will be people in the department that apply, but we want to cast the net wide. We did the same type of search for our police chief.
This is the guy that they hired to be the police chief, Jim McDonnell, after a nationwide search. And he, too, is going to do whatever these big LA politicians want him to do in protecting people from deportations, in protecting the sanctuary city policy.
We are guided by the law, but we're guided by the principles of working with every community, and the immigrant community is a large portion of Los Angeles. We have to maintain the trust of that community and every other community in order to be effective as a municipal law enforcement agency, and we pledge to do that.
Yeah, so he's more than qualified to do what they tell him to do. It must have been some good money, because I don't know who would want to be the police chief of LA or the fire chief of Los Angeles when you know the politicians like Karen Bass over here will just throw you under the bus if something happens, even if it was their fault. Especially with the principal of California, the governor, being Gavin Newsom. You're telling me he won't throw people under the bus?
It's like you right now should come out and be like, you know what? The young man who's about to win the state championship in the long jump in female sports, that shouldn't happen. You as the governor should step out and say no.
No, and I appreciate
but like, would you do something like that? Would you say no men in female sports?
Well, I think it's an issue of fairness. I completely agree with you on that.
Okay.
In the meantime, he is more than capable of managing.
Well, we wish the city well. We will be watching as you move through fire season. Thank you, Madam Mayor. We'll be right back.
Yo, even Margaret Brennan, the mega lib from CBS, was not impressed with the real Karen of the world, Karen Bass.
When it's time to go, you can choose how. You can wait for enforcement, or you can leave on your terms. The CBP Home app lets you self-deport with dignity, directly and securely. Don't wait. Decide how it ends.
We didn't need the National Guard. Why on earth? What are they going to do?
I don't ever slow up. No, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up. No, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up. No, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you
We didn't need the National Guard. Why on earth? What are they going to do? We didn't need the National Guard. Why on earth? What are they going to do?
Get that shit. Pick up! Come on, bro. Don't go in there,
When Gavin Newsom decides to run for president in 2028, remember, this is his state.
for?
I don't live here. I just visit.
Just visit. Mr. Smith there?
Who's that?
We didn't need the National Guard. Why on earth? What are they going to do?
But if you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
Do you believe deploying the military to conduct law enforcement on U.S. soil is legal?
Look, we have to make certain that we protect American cities. If not for President Trump, Los Angeles would be burning right now. We had 6 ICE agents that were totally in fear of their life because local officials, an incompetent mayor, a grossly incompetent governor, refused to do their job.
Is there anything you would not find acceptable for the U.S. military to do on U.S. soil?
Look, President Trump understands what the Constitution is. He understands what the laws are. We have to protect our cities. We have to protect our ICE agents. We have to protect our federal buildings. And Gavin Newsom should maybe get off Twitter and start actually going down to L.A. and protecting his own citizens.
The courts have ruled on the Guard. They will be back under my command.
A few moments later.
Okay, why is Trump back in control of the National Guard, you guys? What the hell is going on? First I lose my pool boy Roberto, and now this? I seriously need a mani-pedi right now. A bottle of wine, cherry ice cream, and a whole season of Will and Grace. Fuck this politics thingy.
What's actually happening is they're buying voters. That's really what's happening. It's like a giant voter fraud scam. They're importing voters. It's easy to understand if you look at basic incentives. The basic incentive here is the more illegals that the Democrats can bring in, the more likely they are to win. So that's what they're going to do. That's what they have been doing, and it worked in California. California's supermajority Dem. And look at all the companies that are leaving California.
Yeah.
I mean, In-N-Out just announced they're leaving.
Yep.
Their headquarters leaving California.
They're moving to Tennessee.
A 4th day of rallies and protests on the streets of Los Angeles.
It was a peaceful rally. What is going on right now is also peaceful.
Here we are expecting rallies later on.
When they show up, we gotta show up even stronger.
In Los Angeles, there is a new crowd of protesters that has been building.
CNN had it that these were rallies. Now they've become protests. I'm afraid that by tonight they become riots. If we don't have the ability to stand up and stop this violence before it consumes a great city like Los Angeles, then there's no telling where this could spread.
Are hardworking, good people, and they're the backbone of our city, and they should have access to all the things that we have access to. And I just don't think they understand that it's a political pawn. I don't think they understand.
It's a political game.
This is not done for compassion and kindness.
No.
This is just done to ensure that it stays blue.
Correct.
Yeah, and it's essentially a bribery with your tax dollars.
Yes, this is why the Dems will not even deport criminals.
Yeah.
Because every criminal deported is a lost vote.